clearly a political process. This has nothing to do with a legal case. I mean, if the highest court in Europe, where Turkey is a member, which it signed itself, if the judges have ruled that this is not a criminal case, then it can only be explained that if now we see the verdicts coming inside Turkey, that means these are political verdicts, meaning the people they are targeting are becoming political prisoners. As a politician, to make statements when I know that there are independent judges that have come to a verdict. Of course, I sometimes don't like perhaps the verdict, but I would never say so because I don't want to undermine the independence of the judiciary. Now, in Turkey, we know that in the last years, there have been great political interference into the judiciary. So you cannot call most judges that are still there as either they have been put there through a political process, or they are being blackmailed to do certain verdicts as judges. So, I don't think in Turkey, especially in this high-level case, which is a very political case, I don't think it's the law that was the basis for the convictions, but the wishes from the palace. I hope so, and they must do so. So, if the Council of Europe, which is the organization to which the European Court of Human Rights belongs, if several verdicts of the European Court of Human Rights are being disrespected by a member state, obviously, then all the members of the Council of Europe must speak out. And as you know, there are more than 40 countries. So I expect also the European Union countries who are also in the Council of Europe to have a very, very clear statement on this. As you know yourself, a couple of weeks ago, I took the initiative in the Dutch Parliament when there were discussions about the modernization of the EU-Turkey customs union, which in general I'm in favor. I think trade is a good issue, but not just without any conditions. And there I put very clearly, and the majority of the Dutch Parliament has adopted it, so that's now the position also of the Dutch government, that we cannot continue cooperation with the Turkish government on this issue, as long as the verdicts of the European Court of Human Rights are not respected. We have this case now. We have, of course, the statement on the case of Selahattin Demirtas. We have the case of the European Court of Human Rights already years ago, also on Osman Kavala. We must make sure in all our diplomatic relations with Turkey that these cases are being raised at the highest level. And let's be honest, I mean, sometimes people are in a way surprised when I tell them this, but with all the attacks happening from the government and from President Erdogan over the last years, and also the difficult years with all the military actions in for instance, in Sur, I remember in Diyarbakir by the Turkish government, with all the mayors in the cities, which were then not this election, but the last election, replaced with lots of Kurdish activists, politicians ending up in jail. Erdogan has never publicly attacked Öcalan because he knows that Mr. Öcalan is needed for a dialogue, because he's the person who is the most respected among the Kurdish population. So there was a time when there was a political dialogue happening. And I think the European Union also always understood that for the democratic process in Turkey, it's key. Without it, you cannot have a democratic Turkey if there is no solution to the Kurdish question. And we all know there is no military solution to the Kurdish question. We all know that in the end, this will have to be dealt with, as you say, through a dialogue. I know a lot of people, Kurdish people who I have close in my heart, are watching this program. Just know that there are many politicians like myself in other European countries who did not forget about the pain and the suffering that you are going through. and who continue to stand up for the democratic rights also of the Kurdish population, and speak out against the violations and the criminalization that is happening against the Kurdish movement, against Kurdish politicians. So, like I said in 2018 in the European Parliament, and like I want to say again, en beterine, we are standing behind you, and spas.